What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Scrimmage here, and today we're gonna be watching Disturbing Punishments in Anime. So, yeah, I hope you guys and girls enjoyed today's video, and this video is by Anime. But yeah, let's get right into the video. Yes, sir.
Elder Toguro. Elder Toguro was one half of the Toguro brothers. He and his younger brother were once human martial artists, but they both chose to become demons. While younger Toguro at least had some twisted sense of honor, Elder Toguro had none. He was purely sadistic. He enjoyed hurting and killing people for fun, and he had zero remorse about any of it. He was small, often riding on his brother's shoulder, but his actual power made him one of the most dangerous enemies in the series. His main
Quote me if I'm wrong, this anime is called Yu Yu Hakusho or some shit like that. But quote me if I'm wrong.
main ability was an extreme regenerative healing factor. This was not something he activated on purpose. It was involuntary. His body would regenerate on its own no matter what happened to him.
I will be putting spoiler warning in the beginning of the video so y'all motherfuckers could know.
Destroy his brain, crush his heart, slice him apart. It did not matter. Yeah. He would keep coming back. That sounds like an incredible power, and it was. But it is also exactly what made his punishment so horrific. During the chapter Black Saga, Elder Toguro was eaten by the demon Gourmet, whose ability allowed him to absorb the powers of anyone he consumed. But Toguro planned for this. Once inside Gourmet's body, he killed Gourmet from within and took full control. So when Kurama eventually cut Gourmet's head open during their fight, he found Elder Toguro underneath, alive and in control. Kurama quickly realized that no normal attack would work. You cannot kill someone whose body regenerates automatically from any wound. So Kurama did something far worse than killing him. He had already planted a seed, a demonic plant known as the Sinning Tree. He generated a mist to accelerate its growth, and the plant began to take root inside Toguro's body. The Sinning Tree is a carnivorous demon world plant that wraps around its victim, feeds on their life energy, and traps their mind in a hallucination of their worst fears. Under normal circumstances, the tree eventually kills its host by draining them completely. Once the host dies, the tree stops. That is how it works for everyone else. But Elder Toguro cannot die. His regeneration is involuntary. His body keeps restoring itself no matter.
That means he's in there like in an infinite fucking loop. Oh, that's so fucked.
Or what? So the tree drains him, his body heals, the tree drains him again, and the cycle never ends. He is locked inside a never-ending nightmare of his worst fears while the tree feeds on him continuously. There is no escape. There is no death to end it. It just goes on forever. Prime Minister Honest. Prime Minister Honest was the real villain of Akame ga Kill. The Emperor was just a child, and Honest manipulated him from the very beginning. He controlled the entire empire from behind the throne, using the young emperor as a puppet while he made every major decision himself. Under his rule, the empire became a place of mass corruption, political assassinations, torture, and widespread suffering for ordinary citizens. Every major atrocity in the series can be traced back to him in some way. He was also personally responsible for some of the—
What a fucking dickhead, bro. As good as it sounds, I might watch it.
The worst people in the story. His son Siura led Wild Hunt, a group that committed horrific acts against civilians with full immunity because of Honest's protection. Honest himself lived in excess, constantly eating and indulging while the people under his rule starved and suffered. He had political enemies killed, allowed torture as a standard practice, and showed absolutely no remorse for any of it. His death plays out differently depending on whether you follow the anime or the manga, and the manga version is significantly more brutal. In the anime, after the Emperor was defeated and Esdeath died, Honest tried to escape through a secret passage in the palace. He was arrogant enough to believe he could flee, rebuild his influence, and return to power. But Leone found him. This was after Honest had already fatally shot her multiple times. Despite her injuries, she caught up to him, punched him down, grabbed him by his beard, and crushed his head with repeated strikes. It was straightforward. Leone finished him off and completed Night Raid's mission. The manga version is a completely different level of punishment.
Dude, his head was fucking caved in. Holy shit.
Leone confronted Honest inside the palace, but Honest had a Tegu of his own called Arastone. It took the form of a crown, and its ability was to destroy other Tegu on contact. He used it to destroy Leone's imperial arms, Lionel, stripping her of her power. Then he shot her and threw her off the palace balcony, but Leone did not die. She had been fused with Lionel for so long that
Yo, I'm gonna get age restricted. Fucking hello? Like...
and pierced of its power still lingered in her body. Through sheer willpower, she survived, came back, and pierced straight through Honest's stomach, exposing his intestines. She then threw him off the balcony down to the courtyard below. Honest landed in the middle of Revolutionary Army soldiers and citizens, the very people whose lives he had destroyed. Under normal circumstances, his injuries would have killed him, but Honest had undergone special physical training that made his body abnormally durable. He did not die quickly. So the soldiers and citizens took matters into their own hands. They carried out a prolonged public execution execution, mutilating him piece by piece. This was not a quick mob killing. It was drawn out, with people taking turns inflicting damage on him as payback for everything he had done to the Empire.
They took his nose off and his lips.
And the records of his execution were kept public and left uncensored. His suffering was not hidden or swept away. It was documented and preserved so that everyone would know exactly what happened to him and exactly what kind of end the man behind the Empire's cruelty met. Edward and Alphonse Elric were just kids when they committed one of the worst sins in their world. Their mother, Trisha Elric, died of an illness, and the two brothers decided to use alchemy to bring her back. The problem is, human transmutation is the one thing every alchemist is told never to do.
It's from Full Metal Alchemist. I seen it, bro, but like I haven't seen like all of it. But I don't really give a fuck about spoilers or not.
It is completely forbidden, but Ed and Al did it anyway because they were desperate and they loved their mom. The moment they activated the transmutation circle, everything went wrong. A mysterious force called the Gate of Truth opened up and pulled them in. Ed lost his left leg and Al lost his entire body. Not a limb, not an organ, his whole physical body just disappeared. Ed, in a moment of panic, sacrificed his right arm to perform a second transmutation on the spot. He used his own blood to draw a seal on a nearby suit of armor and bonded Al's soul to it. That is how Al survived, trapped inside a hollow suit of armor with no ability to eat, sleep, or feel anything.
No, but bro's a goat though. At the end of the day, he's a goat.
Both brothers were brought before a being called Truth. It appears as a featureless white figure that takes on the outline of whoever stands before it. Truth is not exactly a god in the traditional sense. No. It calls itself by many names. The world.
I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the animes that actually made my ass cry, bro. And for the reason is because you get so attached to the fucking characters, bro. Like, it fucks you up, bro. Like, yeah,
the universe, God, truth, you. It acts as both the gatekeeper and the judge of anyone who attempts human transmutation. It does not chase people down. You come to it when you break the rule. And what they got back from the transmutation was not their mother. It was a disfigured, barely alive mass of flesh and organs that died shortly after being created. The whole point was made painfully clear. Once a person's soul is gone, no amount of alchemy can call it back. The dead stay dead. By passing through the Gate of Truth, Ed actually gained something. He got the ability to perform transmutation without drawing a circle, just by clapping his hands together. That knowledge came directly from seeing the truth inside the gate. So the worst moment of his life also gave him his greatest ability. That is the cruel trade-off built into the system. Sayalaporo Grands. Sayalaporo Grands was the 8th Espada in Sosuke Aizen's army, the Arrancar ranked by combat ability. Each Espada represented an aspect of death, and Sayalaporo's was madness. He was a scientist, obsessed with the idea of perfection, and he was completely sadistic. He treated his own fraction, his subordinates, as disposable tools, even consuming them.
Yeah, that's some shit Demozan would do.
To heal himself in battle. He had zero regard for anyone but himself. His most...
Yo, let me go get a fucking water real quick.
Schneisel el Britannia. Schneisel el Britannia was the second prince of the Holy Britannian Empire and served as its prime minister. He was widely considered one of the most intelligent people in the entire series. Lelouch himself acknowledged that Schneisel was the one person he could never beat in chess. He was calm, calculating, and...
Is this Evangelion?
Always several moves ahead, which is exactly why what happened to him hit so hard. Schneisel's endgame plan was terrifying. He took control.
They like fucking like control mechs and shit.
Of the Damocles, a massive flying fortress armed with flaja, weapons capable of wiping out entire cities in a single blast. His plan was to position the Damocles in the sky and hold the entire world hostage. If any nation stepped out of line, he would destroy them. He framed this as peace, but it was really peace through fear. He would sit above everyone as an unchallengeable authority, essentially making himself a god figure who enforced obedience through the threat of total annihilation. During the final battle, Lelouch boarded the Damocles to confront Schneisel directly, but Lelouch did not just walk in and fight him head-on. He outsmarted him. He used a pre-recorded video message of himself to keep Schneisel distracted and occupied, making Schneisel believe he was communicating with Lelouch in real time. While Schneisel was focused on the recording, the real Lelouch appeared in person on Schneisel's escape shuttle, and that is when he used his gas, the power of absolute obedience that forces anyone who makes direct eye contact with Lelouch to follow a single command without question, permanently. The command Lelouch gave Schneisel was simple. He ordered him to serve zero. That is it. One sentence, and the most brilliant strategist in the Empire became an obedient servant. His intellect, his ambition, his plans, all of it was gone in an instant.
Wait, nah. So this motherfucker became his bitch. basically.
Not destroyed, just redirected. He still had his genius level mind, but it was no longer his to use freely. This was all part of the Zero Requiem, Lelouch's final plan. Lelouch made himself the world's most hated tyrant on purpose, concentrating all the hatred and anger of every...
But you see, with this character, it's fucked because it's broken. This mother, he could use it infinite times. Like, you can, dude.
Nation onto himself. Then he arranged for Suzaku Kururugi, disguised as the masked hero Zero, to publicly assassinate him. With Lelouch dead, the world's hatred died with him, and a new era of peace could begin. But here's what makes Schneisel's punishment permanent. The command was not to obey Lelouch, it was to obey Zero. And Zero is not a person. It is a mask, a symbol. After Lelouch died, Suzaku took over the identity of Zero. So Schneisel was now bound to serve Suzaku as Zero, and by extension, to support Empress Nonali and the New World Order. He went from nearly conquering the entire planet to being a tool in service of the very peace he never actually believed in. Muzan Kibutsuji. Muzan Kibutsuji was the first demon and the creator of every other demon in existence. He was over 1,000 years old. As a human, he had a terminal illness and was going to die. His doctor created an experimental medicine using the blue spider lily, and it worked. It turned Muzan into a demon with an immortal body. But Muzan, impatient and believing the treatment had failed, killed his doctor before it was complete. Because of that, he never received the final stage of the cure, which meant he was left with one critical weakness: sunlight. He spent the next 1,000 years searching for the blue spider lily to finish what his doctor started, and he never found it. For 1,000 years, Muzan was untouchable. He could regenerate from virtually any wound, he could split his body into pieces to escape death, and no demon slayer had the power to finish him off. The only person who ever came close was Yoriichi Tsugikuni, the original sun-breathing user, who nearly killed Muzan over 400 years before the main story. Yoriichi slashed Muzan into pieces, but Muzan survived by splitting his body into hundreds of tiny fragments and scattering in every direction. Those wounds from Yoriichi actually burned into Muzan at a cellular level and never fully
That's some little bitch shit, dude. Running away into little pieces.
healed, even after centuries. The people who finally brought Muzan down did not do it with raw strength alone. They used science. Tamayo, a demon who had broken free of Muzan's control, worked alongside Yushiro and Shinobu Kocho to develop a drug specifically designed to destroy him. It was not one drug, it was 4 stages combined into a single weapon. Tamayo sacrificed herself
Wait, she's a demon, but went to work with the homies and shit?
to deliver it, allowing Muzan to absorb her body so the drug would enter his system directly. The first stage attempted to turn Muzan back into a human. He managed to overcome it, but it still weakened him. The second stage was accelerated aging. It aged Muzan roughly 50 years for every minute that passed. Over the course of the final battle, which lasted around 3 hours, that added up to approximately 9,000 years of aging. His body was burning through its regenerative power just to keep itself from falling apart. The third stage was specifically designed because of what happened with Yoriichi. Tamayo knew Muzan's escape strategy, splitting into pieces and fleeing. This drug prevented him from dividing his body, cutting off his only known method of running away. The fourth and final stage attacked Muzan at the cellular level, breaking down his cells and crippling his regeneration from the inside out. As all 4 stages worked through his system simultaneously, the wounds Yoriichi had inflicted over 400 years ago resurfaced. With his regeneration failing, those ancient scars that had been
Yoriichi was never forgotten, gang.
burned into his cells came back, weakening him further. The thing that had made Muzan immortal, his regeneration,
Yo, see, I can't watch these, bro, because like it shows what in the anime is gonna show.
was being destroyed from within, while the Demon Slayer course attacked him from the
haven't
outside.
watched
In his final
it.
desperate attempt to survive, Muzan transformed into a massive demonic infant form. This was his last effort to shield his body from the approaching sunrise. The most feared being in the world, the Demon King who had terrorized humanity for a millennium, was reduced to a giant helpless baby clinging to survival. The core members held him down and pinned him in place as dawn arrived. The sun, the one thing he had feared and run from for over 1,000 years, finally reached him, and he disintegrated into ash. Gendo Ikari was the commander of NERV. He was also the father of Shinji Ikari, the pilot of EVA Unit 1. But Gendo was never really a
This is the Evangelion, no, I think.
father to Shinji in any
The
meaningful
one that I was talking about where they fucking control mechs.
way. He abandoned his son after the death of his wife, Yui Ikari, whose soul was absorbed into Unit 1 during a contact experiment. From that point on, everything Gendo did, every decision, every manipulation, every person he used was aimed at one goal: reuniting with Yui. Gendo's plan for Third Impact was specific. He had Adam's embryo implanted into his right hand. Rei Ayanami, who carried the soul of Lilith, was central to his scheme. He needed to merge Rei with Adam to trigger instrumentality on his own terms, not Seele's. This would give him control over the process and, in his mind, bring him back.
He's like, I see you there. Like, Nah, bro. Fuck
back
out
to
of
Yui,
here.
but Rei refused. In the critical moment, she told Gendo that she was not
Why
his
you
doll.
hurting
She
me?
rejected his control, absorbed Adam from his hand, severing it in the process, and chose to go to Shinji instead. When Gendo desperately called out to her, she simply told him that Shinji was calling her. The person Gendo had treated as a tool for over a decade made her own choice, and that choice was not him. His entire plan collapsed in seconds. What followed during instrumentality was a rare look inside Gendo's mind. As Third Impact unfolded, Gendo was confronted with spectral visions. He finally confessed what he had never been able to say out loud. He admitted that he believed no one could ever
Only
truly
that
love
can
him.
be
He was afraid
loved
of
by
forming
others.
bonds with other people
When I was near him, I only heard Shinji.
because he believed he would only cause them pain. This is why he abandoned Shinji. Not because he
It was
did
better
not
that I
care, but
did
because he
nothing.
was terrified that getting close to his son would only hurt them
You
both.
were
This is
afraid
the
of
same fear
Shinji,
Shinji
weren't
carries
you?
throughout the entire series. The show calls it the Hedgehog's Dilemma, the idea that the closer two people get to each other, the more they inevitably hurt one another. Father and son suffered from the exact same problem, but instead of facing it together, Gendo chose to run from it entirely. He pushed Shinji
What a pussy, bro. Fucking deadbeat.
away and
That's
poured all of his
crazy.
emotional need into the goal of reaching Yui, the one person he believed had accepted him. In his final moments, a spectral vision of Unit 1 appeared and picked Gendo up in its massive hand. This mirrored the way Unit 1 held Kaworu in episode 24 before crushing him. Gendo recognized what was happening. He did not fight it. He acknowledged it openly, saying that this was his retribution. His last words were directed at Shinji, asking for forgiveness. Then Unit 1 bit off his upper body. His lower torso was left standing on the catwalk, and his glasses fell to the floor. The irony of his death is impossible to miss. Gendo spent the entire series protecting Unit 1 above all else because it contained Yui's soul. It was the vessel of the one person he loved. And in the end, that same Eva, the physical embodiment of his obsession, was the thing that killed him. The love he chased for years delivered his punishment, and the son he neglected was the last person on his mind. If you like this video, turn on the notification bell and subscribe.
They ate with this video, bro. Alright, let me full screen real quick so y'all get the outro. Alright, I hope you guys and girls enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, please fucking punch that bell icon in the mouth for me so you guys can get a notification on when I upload a new video. And as always, I love y'all and stay motherfucking wicked. Peace out.